Welcome, Molly, and thank you for spending time with me.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
So, Molly, you've been part of the Touchstone family, part of the mastermind since, I think it was January 2019, wasn't it?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so this is kind of almost 2 years now. This is, because we're recording this, I don't know when you're watching it, everyone, but we are recording this in October 2020. So, if it's okay, I'd really like to focus on this year, on 2020, and sort of projects that you've done this year or are doing. So I know you purchased a property in February 2020. Do you want to just tell everyone about that, Molly?
Yeah, sure. So back in February 2020, we purchased Chopra in a little town called Fareham. It's a nice little project. It's got upstairs it's a 3-bed masonette, and downstairs it's a commercial shop which is rented out on a 10-year FRI lease. Nice. Upstairs is a 3-bed masonette which had planning for 4 flats. So to convert to 4 flats. So it was actually on a guide price of around about 525. We'd been watching it for several months. Then it dropped price 475, and then we saw it at 400.
Yep.
And I thought, right, okay, let's go for this deal. And I remember having conversations with you. And I just wanted a little bit off. I know that they'd come down quite a bit. So I got it for 397.
I remember exactly what you told me when you got it for 397. You told me you wanted some chocolate and champagne money, didn't you?
Yes.
So you wanted to squeeze it under 400. So that's £3,000 worth of chocolate and champagne you got yourself.
I did well.
That's quite a good deal. Okay, so yeah, I do know. I'm pretty familiar with this one because we did go backwards and forwards quite a few times. And you got that in February, and then boof, March, lockdown, smash. So was that good or bad as far as you're concerned for this project?
Good. You know me, Paul. I'm kind of a good person, bad person. You got to see the light both times. So obviously, when we went into lockdown, it was bad because we wanted to start work in March. We wanted to start building. We were running out of time for the plans because 3 years were coming up. So it was a bit of a rough time, but things happen for a reason. So obviously we had to stop work. Didn't start work, but I thought, right, what can we do here? So we put the upstairs, the 3-bed masonette, on rent. So we were on a 6-month AST. So that started bringing some money. Thankfully, downstairs the tenant was still paying. He did close. It's a vape shop, but he was still able to, give us the rent. So that was a good thing. And then we thought, right, what else can we do to this property? And it's all about adding value. So then, we went back to the drawing board. We spoke to a local architect, and we thought, because it's quite a big plot, we could do a lot more. So we put in plans for 7 flats.
Love it. And still keeping the shop.
And still keeping the shop. So, but we eat into the car park. Which is fine because where the property is, it's on a high street, and now councils are not so precious about car parks. So they said it's absolutely fine. All they were worried about was a bike store and a bin store.
It's weird. Yes, I've had the same thing. What they'll sometimes do, Molly, I don't know if they did it to you, is they'll ask for a contribution to highways. So the last couple I've done like this, they've said, okay, there's no parking. Yes, there's public parking. So if you make a contribution of, they started at, what was it? This was an office into 5 flats. They wanted £4,000 per car parking space. So they started off at £20,000, and they said £20,000 were you not getting planning. And anyway, long story short, I negotiated, and we ended up shaking hands at £4,000 for the lot. So it's, but I mean, I do get it. They do have to put more parking somewhere, but they're absolutely adamant about bin stores and, recycling bins and bicycles. So that seems to be the flavour of the month. Okay, so you bought this thing we just need to go back and decode it in case people are watching this and they're not used to the language of commercial. So you said it's on the downstairs, the shop is on a 10-year FRI. That's a full repair and insuring lease, which means you, the landlord, not responsible for anything. So your gross rent is the net rent. So on that bit, what's the annual rent for the shop?
We are getting 29,000.
29,000, which is fantastic. So I know you live in North London. Is it Enfield?
Enfield, correct.
Yeah. So I had a bit of a memory test when I worked with my lovely masterminders. So if you'd have taken your you spent 397 for the shop and the uppers with the planning permission. If you'd have spent that, say roughly 400,000 in Enfield on a residential property, what kind of residential property could you buy for 400 in Enfield?
Around here, probably a 2 to 3 bed semi-detached home.
2 to 3 bed semi. And what would be the rent on that as a buy-to-let-ish?
Probably around about £1,600, £1,700 a month.
1,600. Well, if I made it easy on myself, 1,500, because I can then times it by 12. So 1,500 times 12 is 18,000. So if you'd have taken that amount of money and bought a 3-bed or a 2-bed semi, wherever you are in Enfield, residential rent, you'd have got maybe 18,000 a year. But from that, you're now paying all the maintenance, aren't you,
Yes.
as a landlord? And you're probably going to have voids. And so for me, I don't know what figure you take off. From my residential properties, I take off 25% of the cash flow to cover letting fees, voids, maintenance. I'll just tuck it away in a little rainy day account for whatever. So for me, roughly, the 18K wouldn't be 18K. It would be more like 14K. So like for like, even ignoring all the stuff you've got upstairs, your commercial unit on its own is earning double probably what you'd get from a residential property. So that's fantastic. And then you get a car park, and then I love the way you said it eats into the car park, but you still got some car. Isn't it nice having a block with a car park? I love that. Just, I'm going to get myself a multi-story car park one day. And then when you bought it, you had planning permission for 4 flats.
Correct.
And you've now said, well, actually, I'm going to use this time. I'm going to use lockdown. Because what you touched on, but you didn't really explain, is that when you bought it, it was almost at the 3-year point with planning permission,
Correct.
Which is when the planning permission runs out. So you'd have had to resubmit planning even to get it stamped for the 4. So you thought, well, do you know what? I'm going to go for 7. And that's why I love working with people like you, because you are very bright. So that's nice. So, and what stage are you at? All the council said, no, go away.
They've been absolutely amazing to work with. They've given us wonderful ideas of what it should look like. So we've been working with them very, very closely. And it's imminent, really. We've got the drawings. They've okayed a lot of the things. Like I said, they've kind of picked up things on the bin store, which was easily resolved. So the architect's gone back with the drawings. They're happy with. So we're just really fingers crossed any day.
Happy days. Yeah. So once you've got the shop and the 7 flats built, the next little 3-letter acronym I need to explain, GDV, the gross development value, which means what's it all going to be worth altogether. So what do you reckon it's all going to be worth, Molly, when it's done?
We're being very, very conservative because obviously, where we are now, but we're looking at about 1.13 million.
1.13 million. Okay. Yes. So you bought the property for 397 plus champagne money. So let's call it 400. And that's interesting as well, isn't it? Because I know you know this, but we're trying to help share the love here on commercial property. Because you've bought a shop with uppers for 400K, that's actually mixed use. So your stamp duty is wildly less than it would have been if you'd have bought £400,000 worth of residential property, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So, okay. So your GDV, so your value at the end with your 7 flats and your shop, 1.13 million. You've paid roughly £400,000 for the block in the first place. And what's the current best estimate on the build cost for those 7 flats?
Around about 350,000.
350,000. So you'll be all done at 750-ish, plus some fees, I guess. But then you'll have an end value of 1.1, 1.13. So do you think you'll be able to pull all your money out, or would you have to leave a few thousand in?
We're hoping to pull all our money out, but worst case, we will be left with around about 30,000 in the deal.
Okay. So let's say you did get £30,000 of your money stuck in the deal. You've now got a block, 7 flats and a shop. What's the combined rent roll for all that lot?
The combined roll we looked at, it'd be around about 81,000.
81,000, bloody hell. So even if you did leave £30,000 in there, within 4 or 5 months, you've got it all back again, haven't you?
Yes.
That's a little smile, isn't it? Everything's crossed for you.
Everything's crossed.
Yeah, but I mean, with a bit of a following wind, what we've seen in our investment areas, so it's obviously not Fareham, but in South Yorkshire and in the west of Scotland, between starting a project like this and finishing a project like this, which realistically, when you actually get builders on site, is going to be 6 to 9 months, isn't it?
Easily.
To get everything done. We've actually seen twice now, we've seen property values go up by nearly 10% between when we started and when we finished. So you never know, just a little bit of price inflation or whatever. So I'm pretty confident you'll get all your money back out. But, you know, even if
we're hoping, so, but we want to do the worst case scenario, but we are hoping that we get all of our money out and actually the rent will be a bit more. But we've just kept our figures so conservative because of you know, the times that we're in now. So
yeah, of course. And I mean, we were having a little chat about this before, weren't we? That I think, and none of us can assume that this lockdown, partial lockdown, tier 1, 2, 3, I think that's with us for a while. And we don't know how long, but we just got to learn to cope with it, haven't we?
Yes.
Good news for me is that whatever happens to lockdown or whatever, I mean, the business we're in, property, people are still going to need homes. So I think we're in a pretty safe industry, which is not the same for everybody, sadly. But okay, sounds like a fantastic project. And you've still got a few sweeties to explore, haven't you, with your champagne and chocolates, like capital allowances. So capital allowances, for anyone that doesn't know, is tax-free earnings that you can, so if you buy commercial property, you can basically get tax breaks. So good luck with that one as well. But I know that's not the only thing you've been doing. So what else have you got your eye on?
So obviously, you know, spending some time at home and looking at other projects really. So I've seen something else in the Kent area, and again, shopping uppers with permission for 3 flat development. So
you do like your shopping uppers, don't you?
I do. And so I just thought, okay, it's nice. I like the building. So I thought, right, I want to go and have a look at that. So I go to view that on Monday. Okay. So fingers crossed. And I think that'll be a lot quicker than what we're kind of doing with Fareham, because obviously we've changed what we're doing. But this, I think it'd be quite a quick win. It'd be a nice little project. So looking for a builder out there. You know, if someone wants to come in.
Okay.
Yeah, a builder in Kent. So it's a nice little project. It's not a lot of demolition on this one. So I think a lot of it's just reconfiguring. So I think it could be a quick win as a project. So
and this one's already got this one's already got full planning?
Already got full planning, yes.
And what's the purchase price on this one, Molly?
This one is 400 again. So
oh, blimey.
Let's see if I can get chocolate and champagne money out of this again. One.
Do you only ever buy things for 400?
It's the way it happens, I think. So I'd like to buy things obviously for cheaper, but
yeah, okay. Well, yeah. Just trying to think, what have I bought recently? Well, the cheapest, I didn't actually buy it. The cheapest thing we as a family have bought recently is 50,000. And that actually wasn't me. That was Jude, my 12-year-old. So Jude has now got his first house through his limited company. And that's a little 2-bed house, and he's turned it into a 3-bed house. So
brilliant.
It's quite exciting, isn't it?
Nice.
So what's the figures on, assuming you get it for circa 400, what's the figures on this other one in Kent then, Molly?
Again, need to do a bit more work around it. We haven't kind of pulled it apart yet. So just watch this space. But it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be a massive GDV that we're looking at for the Fareham project, but I just think it's something that I can get my teeth in while we're waiting for the planning. And, you know, like you always say, make sure there's 6 things going on, but I can't manage 6. I've got 2 things, Paul, so I think I've done all right.
What I say, Molly, is make sure you've got 6 deals on the table. And then from those 6 deals, choose one. Well, you can if you want, but I think 6 projects at the same time, that would be, well, I wouldn't put it past you, but that's...
Well, I'm a project manager by trade, so, you know, but but not a property project manager, an IT, but, you know, kind of moving away now, so...
Similar things, it's just managing a project. Okay, so your... the role you've had for many years has been traveling around the world and spending quite a lot of time away and whatever. What does the next 5 years, 10 years look like for Molly? What's the plan for you?
So for me, it's coming away from the corporate world and being a full-time property developer. That's what I want to do. That's where I'm striving. So for the next 5 years, I'd like to have a portfolio of more commercial properties. You know, we've got a few residential things, but I really want to focus now on commercial. Because you know, I know the last 6 months have been difficult, but it's been quite hands-off for me. And you know, we've still been getting the rental income, whereas a residential, we've been getting quite a lot of you know, lots of little problems, niggly things coming up. So that's where I want to be. I want to be free from my day job, and I want to be in property, so I can spend a lot more time with the children and hubby. So
well, hubby, we haven't really talked about hubby, have we? So hubby Rishi, he's a
He's
doctor,
a
isn't he?
GP, yeah, in central London. So he's been really, really busy. And
I
he's
dare
also
say.
my finance director. I promoted him over the COVID time. I thought, right, he can do my finances. I don't do numbers at all, Paul. You know me. I go out and look at deals. I like touching and looking at things. I don't focus much on the figures. So he's become my finance director.
Good. I remember feeling like I was putting the health of the nation at risk, because I remember a three-way phone call between, well, you and me were in Doncaster before lockdown. We called him, didn't we? And
that's right.
I was just thinking, because we did talk for quite a long time about this Ferrum project, and I was thinking, have any of his patients died? Or, they're all outside in the waiting room, probably thinking he's doing some complicated thing with a patient. He's not. He's talking to me about property. Made me smile. So how's he generally? Is he supportive? Does he
Totally. And I wouldn't have been able to do all these things, I think, without him. So we've kind of divided our roles. Now we know, who owns what part of the business. What we, as in, you do the finances, I go out and I look at the deals, he analyzes all the deals, and then we come together and we kind of write the vision paper together. Mm-hmm. And that's really, really helped. So he's been full on.
Okay, perfect.
Helping out with the property world.
One of the many reasons that I love property is it is passive income once it's set up, especially if it's commercial. And it just gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. And I know for you as a young mum, you don't particularly want to be jetting around the world all the time and all that malarkey. Because I used to do all that, and it sounds very glamorous, and it is very glamorous for about the first 3 weeks. Then after that, you get fed up with it, don't you? You've seen enough airport lounges and hotels and whatever. So perfect. Okay. And if there's anybody, sort of thinking, would they maybe be able to get in touch with you or whatever? Are you okay if we share your email address or something, Molly?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'd love to hear from people, of course.
All right, perfect. And I quite often ask this question. What was it about Touchstone? Because I'm always fascinated. What was it about Touchstone that you thought, I'm going to get involved with these people? What was a moment?
Can I tell you, it was accidental.
Really?
It was at the school grounds. So I met a mum at the school grounds, and we got talking, and she said to me, "Oh, this weekend, Molly, you always say to mums, what are you doing this weekend?" And she said, "I'm going on a property weekend. I'm going to learn. I'm going to educate myself." So I started talking to her, and she said, "Why don't you come along?" And I said, "Well, what are these things?" And she said, I've never been into property. We buy our home and then we sell it, then we move to the next home. And she said to me, "Come along with me." And I said, "Okay, fine." So we came along to your 6-figure summit, and I sat there for the weekend, and I thought, I can do this. This sounds interesting. It's exciting. We met lots of people that weekend. Met yourself, met Aniko, met the rest of the team, and I thought, actually, let me give this a go. We can do this. And I haven't looked back. So anyone that's kind of out there and thinking, can we do this, or is it for us? Of course it is. A little bit of work, a little bit of dedication, a bit of networking, the support team that Touchstone give, I would highly recommend it.
Thank you, Molly.
Brilliant.
I've got to share this with you. Karen Bock, who's part of the mastermind, I was talking to her a couple of days ago, and I said, is there anyone that shouldn't do the mastermind? And she thought about it, and she said, yeah. She said, you shouldn't do mastermind if you're lazy. Cracked me up. And I keep telling people, it's just so funny the way she said it. Yeah, you shouldn't do mastermind if you're lazy. But, anyway.
Well, that's with anything in life. So sound advice.
Thank you, as always, Molly.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with your 7-flat project, and enjoy your Kent for whatever that one was, 4 flats project.
So that's three flats. So hopefully next time we talk, I've got another one underway. So fingers crossed.
Look after yourself. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.